I'm literally on my way to a doctor's appointment right now, but allow me to be a doctor for you to heal the lack of standards in your life. I say this with a smile, but I'm being very serious. The bar is in hell. At least make yours in a second firmament, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. Hi everyone, my name is Jessica and welcome back to my channel, and today's video is just essentially going to be about how to actually have standards and how to elevate your standards if they are quite low. I'm going to be telling you guys tips and tricks to result in you having healthy relationships, having good quality men around or in your life, and also being treated like a woman who is loved, like a woman who is cherished in relationships by setting a precedent first and by having a particular mindset before getting into relationships. We need more healthy relationships. I would love actually to see women in more relationships with men that actually love them and like them. What happens to the wooing? What happened to the romance? What happens to the acts and gestures of love? It's not a lost art. It's just not being required anymore. But we're here to change that. So the first thing I want to say is that it begins with you. It starts with you. You do not enter into a relationship and then that's the beginning. No, it is two wholes becoming one. You can't be half a person. You need to be whole. And so the first thing that I would suggest and recommend for you to do before you get into a relationship is to fix or be on the journey to fixing your attachment style. Attachment styles are essentially ways that we interact and bond with people in relationships. They were established from when we were very young, and it affects the way that we interact with our parents. It affects the way that we interact with our siblings, our friends, and our romantic partners. There are 4 attachment styles actually. 3 of which are unhealthy and only 1 is healthy. We want to get to that 1. The 1 that is healthy is secure. And the ones that are unhealthy are anxious attachment style, avoidant attachment style, or fearful avoidant / disorganized attachment style. And I'm going to break all of these 3 down. And so you're going to be able to either through this video or by other more research that you're going to do after, figure out which category you fall under if it's not healthy. Number 1 is anxious attachment. So people who have an anxious attachment tend to have a fear of rejection or abandonment. Yeah. And so you might chase someone who shows a little bit of interest or cling to unsatisfactory romantic relationships or partners because you are scared of having your worst fear validated. And that worst fear is that you are not worthy of love or that no one can actually love you. People with anxious attachment styles can tend to be very clingy and need constant reassurance. It can look like you being very actively dependent on someone, or it can be very subtle. You are double texting them. Your mood goes down when you have a subpar or unsatisfactory interaction with the person that you like. And the reason why is because you kind of place your value in the way that they have spoken to you, in the way that they have treated you, because an anxious attachment style is when you have a negative view of self, but a high view of other people. You have a distrust of yourself and you trust other people more. So you think that if they have treated you in a way that is dismissive or cold, then it must mean that you have done something or you are someone that is deserving or cold or dismissive treatment.
You must know you did nothing wrong.
I must have done something. Perhaps I should have found out more about the Bridgertons. I should have known more about their interests. I should have been better.
So that is anxious attachment style. The second attachment style is avoidant attachment style. Avoidants tend to be very uncomfortable with the vulnerability. They don't like opening up. They don't like signs of being emotionally close to someone. So when those signs crop up, alarm bells go off in an avoidant's head and triggers their responses of distance, emotional availability, ghosting, or just being cold. An avoidant person is someone whose childhood emotional needs were not met, and so they go into their adulthood, their teenagehood, and the rest of their lives satisfying their own emotional needs. They have a high view of themselves and a low view and expectations of other people. It's interesting because if you are an avoidant, you are going to attract an anxious. The anxious person is clinging on to this avoidant person because the avoidant person is triggering the anxious person's need to prove themselves. So these 2 are going to inevitably connect, and it's just going to be an unhealthy cycle
Right, you just hung out and talked about love.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
If I would have known you were gonna get back together, I wouldn't have done this.
That's a lie.
You two were broken up.
That is a comfort to nobody but you.
We can make this work. If things get really bad, then I'll move to Paris for a while and write Le Sex and the City.
That would be great.
Which one?
He's shutting down.
I don't care.
Expectations are high.
Be moving to Paris for yourself, right? I mean, don't move for me.
Well, why would I move to Paris if it wasn't for you?
Keep them low.
I'm just saying, I don't want you to uproot your life and expect anything.
Expect anything. Harsh.
I am such an idiot!
This isn't about us. This is about work.
No, this isn't about work.
about
This
emotions.
is about us getting closer and you
Yes.
getting so freaked out that you have to put an ocean between us.
She calls him out. He's shutting down. He's collapsing. He's
I don't want to
literally
talk about this anymore.
doesn't want.
The avoidant getting close to the anxious really being clingy to the avoidant seeing the requirement from the anxious side of emotional stability, of vulnerability, of an emotional connection. They're going to pull back, and then the anxious is going to chase them. So it's just going to be an unhealthy cycle of you being in an unhealthy and toxic relationship that is not fulfilling you, that is not affirming you, and that it is just worsening your self-esteem, worsening your confidence, and it's just wasting your time. You don't need that. But anyway, I digress. The third unhealthy attachment style, which is fearful, avoidant, or disorganized. Now, fearful avoidants that are watching this, well done. I'm actually a fearful avoidant on my journey to being secure. I was a lot more fearful avoidant when I was younger / a teenager. I would say that I was fearful avoidant, leaning more avoidant. Now, I would say that I'm a more secure individual. And so for all the fearful avoidants watching this, well done. You managed to acquire both. You are both anxious and avoidant. So what a fearful avoidant attachment style looks like, you crave closeness and affection and relationships and things like that, but you may also feel smothered or trapped and will run away from closeness, love, and relationships like an avoidant would. So people who are anxious avoidants or fearful avoidants or disorganized are people that tend to have kind of commitment issues. So they will want to spend time with you, they will want to be around you, but when it comes to putting a label on it, it's serious. It's a sign of things getting deep. It's a sign of, oh, I'm going to have to open up. I'm going to have to be vulnerable. This is so scary, so they run away like an avoidant. Disorganized / fearful avoidance can also self-sabotage a lot, and they also fear intimacy. And the reason for this is because fearful avoidance / disorganized, I'm just going to say disorganized. People with a disorganized attachment style have a low view of other people and also have a low view of themselves. It's this push and pull. Their minds are so frazzled because they don't know what to trust. They don't trust you and they don't trust themselves either. And so they end up in situations with both. They end up in relationships with either an avoidant or either an anxious because they attract both of them because they are both. If you are someone that is fearful avoidant or anxious, you will not attract someone that is secure, because when you are secure, you will be turned off by any signs of toxicity, emotional unavailability, emotional immaturity. If anybody decides to show up with emotionally immature behavior or emotionally unavailable behavior, you're not going to stay in this space. We are not going to have a very strong relationship, and it's not going to move further than this. Getting into a more secure attachment style is crucial. When you enter into a relationship with the mindset of, this is a pleasant addition to my life, rather than I must be with this person lest I die mindset, you signal not only to yourself but to other people that your life already is emotionally and mentally fulfilled, and so you will not settle for anything that will disrupt that. The next thing, that's going to really elevate your standards is stop playing hard to get. Be hard to get. Playing hard to get is pretentious, and it can be sniffed out from a mile away from anybody that is mature and healthy. And if you're good at it, when you get into a relationship with that person, the mask of playing hard to get will drop and shatter. We need to actually be difficult to get. That doesn't mean acting like you don't like the person when you actually do. Understand that expressing interest in someone that has expressed it to you does not make you look easy and is not cheap. I'm not saying tell them I love you, let's get married, when all they said was you look beautiful tonight, what's your name? Establish boundaries for dating. Establishing boundaries can look like not texting a guy or any man after the hours of 9 p.m., not going to his house before things are official. These are just some things that you can incorporate as boundaries. I don't really text males after the hours of 9 p.m. I will not go over to his house before things are official. These are just certain boundaries that I've put in place for me, because these are things that I personally value, and these are things that I personally want to be respected. When you implement boundaries in the way that you date, or boundaries for different levels of dating, this will show that you're very serious about your space. You will not let people who break boundaries enter. The whole point is to make a list of boundaries that is personalized, okay? Because that is what is being hard to get instead of playing hard to get. If you take someone else's boundaries and you don't actually agree with any of them, but you're just taking them in order to attract the guy and all that type of stuff, it's fake and it's going to fall off eventually because it's not you. I also mentioned to do something with your date and just be busy. Just be busy. And if you're not already a busy individual, then work on something that's going to make you busy, because why are you filling your days with nothing? And why this is useful and why this helps in being actually hard to get is because you are doing your hobbies and your work, so you won't be looking at your phone. You won't be rapid fire responding back to him because you're actually busy, instead of seeing his message, getting all excited, remembering that you have to compose yourself, and then pretend to be busy for 2 hours when you're actually checking your phone every 5 minutes to check if the 2 hours have passed because you can't wait to respond. Guys, please, let's remove this mindset of pretending to be busy if we're not actually busy. If you're not busy, get busy. Fill your day up with things that you like to do or work towards achieving your goals. And then when you get the chance to look at your phone, if he messages you, then you respond. If you're taking a break with one of your activities and you look on your phone and you're on your phone and the message comes up, then you respond as well because you were free, okay? Another thing that I would say that you really need to put into practice if you want to elevate your standards is stop watching TikToks or TV shows or movies that showcase toxic or unhealthy relationships, or just relationships where they don't like each other, or where the guy clearly does not like the girl, but the girl is staying anyway. I don't watch any movie or show where the guy low-key isn't like yearning for the girl. There are men that exist out there. Whenever I see, for example, that TikTok of the girl calling her boyfriend her husband, and with a quickness he was like, I'm not your husband. Why on earth would you say that? I'm scrolling. I'm actually clicking not interested, and then I'm scrolling. Whatever you consistently look at, you condition your mind to believe is the norm. So why do I need to be consuming that content? To condition myself and tell myself that this is normal? It's impossible. It's impossible. I will not do it, and you shouldn't do it either. The movies and shows that I personally recommend that show the guy being enamored or close to enamored with the women that he likes or the women that he is attracted to are Roman Holiday. A lot of the movies in that time period were really it for the romance girlies. Season 1 of Outlander, Jamie is the president. He is the president for all men. Season 2 of Bridgerton, we saw Anthony, even though he kind of couldn't have Kate, he could not be any closer to Kate. If they were in a room, he would draw near to her. Any gaze, any graze, anything, he was absolutely eating it up. To conclude this point, stop watching TikToks, movies, or shows that showcase unhealthy or toxic relationships, or that showcase a relationship in which the guy does not like the ghetto. The next point, in order to elevate your standards and not deplete them to the battles of hell, is to understand abundance over scarcity. What that means is that you are not going to cling to any unsuitable man for you just because you feel like there's no other guy like this, or just because he ticks maybe 2 of the things on your list and those things are the most unimportant things ever, but because he's the only one around you that has ticked anything, you're gonna stick to him. No. Abundance over scarcity is to understand that there are over 8 billion people on this world now. 8 billion people. And so if 1 in 100 of them met your standards, you would have over 5 million prospects, 5 million suitable, eligible bachelors for you to be in a relationship with. Take your mind outside of the small town you live in, outside of the university you go to, and expand it. The next point to elevate your standards is to ghetto friend yourself. So obviously, when you enter into a relationship, you're expecting the flowers, the nice treatment, the date nights out, the loving words exchanged between one another. Now, you do that for yourself. Because if you start to do that for yourself first, before you get into a relationship, you are not going to enter into a relationship with someone that treats you worse than how you treat yourself. The things that I would suggest for you to do to really fulfill this area is buy yourself flowers. Also go on solo dates with yourself, and whether it is solo dates out or solo dates in your home, make it a whole vibe. Get yourself the flowers, get yourself some non-alcoholic wine. We do not promote drinking on this channel. Nice snacks, some candles, put on a nice dress. Even if you're staying at home, put on a nice movie and have some dinner whilst you're watching that really nice movie. Get yourself gifts, buy yourself things, make yourself things, okay? Write yourself letters, and also affirm yourself. As we've talked in the video that I posted last week called How to Have the Confidence of a Star. If you really want to learn how to affirm yourself, go watch that video. I talk about it a lot. All of these things that I just mentioned are things that are acts of self-love that will boost your self-confidence and really boost your perception of self-worth to you. And that will enable men that are only willing to treat you the same as you treat yourself, if not better, to enter into your life. This, remember, standard of living, standard of treatment. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was more of a chit chat, kind of less serious video as opposed to my other ones, but everything that I said still stands, and I really hope that with these tips and tricks you really level up yourself and your standards, because it begins with you. Please take the time to go back and watch any of my other videos. They talk about things from confidence to self-development and self-care and detoxing, and so I really think that if you are someone that is on a self-care and self-development journey, these are all topics that you would benefit from listening from, and maybe hearing my point of view to add into the other points of views that you have heard over time. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day, and goodbye.